What is going on, guys? My name is Commander Coach Silvio and KC, and welcome to the IDL Power Rankings for Week 3. As previously stated on the ICL Power Rankings that was uploaded yesterday or today from me recording this, I'm going to start alternating the Power Rankings and adding some more videos to the IDL and ICL video count. So, without further ado, let's jump into your Power Rankings for this week. It's still really close, not as many coaches moved, and there's some pretty good upsets this week. So, and then week 4 should be able to even it out, hopefully. Starting on the number 16 spot, we have Danger, coach of the Texas Tyrannotars. Danger faced off against Shadow, who's been on a rampage. So I totally can't blame Danger for not being able to take out Shadow. Alola Ninetales put in so much work against his team. Though I will say it was the best showing of Danger so far this season. Facing off first against Pharynix and then against Boston Blastoise. He faces off against Arizona Diamond Storm this week, Carson, and we'll see who's really should be at the bottom. Moving on to number 15 this week. Speaking of Carson, we have Carson, coach of the Arizona Diamond Storms. He faced off against Honolulu Vulpix this week, and I'm not going to say that Kamala getting 2 kills shouldn't have been a thing, because obviously Reggie did a very good job this week against a lower, well, he was lower in the power rankings. As I said before, I don't have a whole lot to say. Tapu Lele does have the 10th most kills, which is kind of interesting, but the battle between Carson and Danger should be a very interesting one with that. We're going to move on to number 14 this week. And 14th is going to be Chewy, coach of the Bellevue Farfetch. Chewy had the luxury and the pain of having to deal with Dark this week, and did not do very well. 5-0 loss against Chewy Primarinia, the only one getting kills. As when the switch into Crocodile happened and Crocodile was passed into life happened. But that is okay. And the Magearna came in and finished up the match. Chewy is facing off against myself, Sylveon KC, and what is going to be a pretty cool match. Last season, Chewy got the win. I'm going to hope that's not going to happen, but I can't speak for the match that happens tomorrow. I guess. I said I was going to talk in the IDL chat, so I guess I should totally do that. Okay. We're just going to continue going here. So 13th we have Bree in one of the most depressing matches of all time. Do I say that about all of Bree's matches? Bree literally got this close. You can't see how close that is. That's the point. This week she faced against Logic, coach of the Bikini Bottom Blastoise, and was a very close match this week. Except the fact that Jirachi got 3 Iron Head flinches in a row, and that won him the match. I mean, that's what Jirachi's made to do. And I feel like because Bree faces off against Vamp, and Vamp just got a forfeit this week. So he didn't have to battle, so he's going to be a little rusty. And so I think Bree can totally come in here. A very good game coming up is Bree versus Vamp. Yeah, I feel so bad for Bree. She's came close like every single game. Literally. All she has are 1-0 losses. She's about the closest you can get. Anyway, we're going to jump on to number 12 this week. As I was speaking, we have Vamp, coach of the Ontario Alma Stars. It was really hard to try and put Vamp in a spot due to the fact that he only got the forfeited win against Scotty, because Scotty got really, really, really busy. So there was no reasoning of trying to figure out what could happen. And it's not like, because I feel like it's going to be seen that it hurt Vamp that Scotty forfeited, but compared to the next, or three of the four next coaches had really needed three out of the five next coaches. You'll get the point. Reggie, Commander, myself, and Atlas had just really good games, so I can't hurt them for Vamp getting a forfeit, if you understand what I mean. But Vamp faces off against Bree, as I said before, and I think Bree wants to stop getting 1-0 losses. Put it that way. And I know that Vamp would be super happy to keep that streak going on her side. Moving on, also shout out to Corey, Banded Caterpie, who is listening to us right now. You got a ways. You got a long ways before we talk about you, Corey. Moving on to number 11, we have Reggie, coach of the Honolulu Vulpix. Reggie coming off of a very nice win against Carson, having 2 wins back-to-back so far, which is good. He kind of needs those. He has some tough opponents coming up ahead. He faces off against Shadow this week, and Shadow has yet to lose, and Shadow's been doing a very good job. But if anyone can beat Shadow, I think the overwhelming power that Reggie likes to bring, his setup and run over power, I feel like that may be Shadow's weakness. I don't know. Potential. It'll be interesting to see how Shadow plays around Reggie, because Reggie is not your typical coach. As I've said before, he's a lot like Combat, or they're like each other. I don't know who. I think Reggie came first, but they like to overwhelm you. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. At number 10 this week, we have Levo, coach of the Tulsa Infernos, coming off of a stupid close match against Mud. Came down to a roll on Flamethrower, which screwed over the game for Levo. It was a very, very low roll. And Buzzwole just getting so many kills. But Levo, as I said, just did enough work. And if he pointed out if his Mega Venusaur was physically defensive, then it would have been fine. But it was specially defensive, and life happens. He's facing off against Atlas this week. And Atlas is coming off of a very, very good win against Pharynix, and screwing over the entire Pickem crew in the process. So it'll be interesting to see. Atlas is a little more offensive of a battler, and Levo has a defensive team and likes to play hyper offense. So it'll be interesting to see how it works out in the end. At number 9 this week, we have Commander, coach to Sylveon KC. And what was a 20-win streak on the Banded Caterpie side was stopped because speed ties, which I don't know if that was my fault because I was supposed to be able to outspeed Porygon 2, or if that was Corey's fault not outspeeding Sylveon, which was a definite bring, especially with Hydreigon and Minchao coming. I don't know whose fault it is. Also, many Toxics were missed and Toxics were thrown down at the wrong time. But the speed tie would have really changed things on either side. I don't understand, because I was supposed to be setting up on Porygon 2 in the first place. But Sylveon, as mentioned, put in a lot of work first game coming on, and then Jolteon cleaned up the game. Mega Charizard X, though, on Corey's side, doing a lot of damage, including to the Glaceon, which died from it, but also got rid of the Charizard in the process, so either way. It was an interesting game. Prep probably is what made the match happen, and the fact that speed ties causing things to miss and etc. And Corey says shout out to Scarf Glaceon. Scarf Glaceon putting up the pressure. Too bad Scarf Glaceon's not coming next week, or is it? I mean, it outspeeds Chewy's entire team, so you never know. We're going to jump into number 8 this week. You're supposed to see number 8. You're not seeing number 8. No, here's number 8. I don't know why Vampire's name is still on here. I guess I've been just too lazy to change it. But number 8 this week, we have Logic, coach of the Bikini Bottom Blastoise. And Logic shouldn't have won his match. I think we can all agree that Logic shouldn't have won his match. But Jirachi has this ability called Serene Grace for a reason, and Scarf Jirachi with Iron Head proved to be the whole reason that Logic won. Coming out in the end very well. Mantine also picked up a kill. By the way, that's Mantine. 5 kills. 1 death. 5th on the leaderboard. Why is Mantine 5th on the leaderboard? No one will ever know. But Logic facing off against Scotty this week in an early game, I believe. If I remember Scotty's messages. Moving on to number 7. And if we had a Coach of the Week, this is totally the Coach of the Week. We have Atlas, Coach of the Boston Blastoise. Atlas facing off against Pharynix. No one voted for Atlas. And Atlas was like, watch this. And yeah, Kyurem and D-Dance Mega Gyarados. Put in the work against Pharynix's team. Though some things were unfortunate and rolls and blah blah blah, but Atlas, after a sad week 1, I think Atlas is proving himself very well in this league. He's facing off against Levo, so it will be a true test of his skills. He's faced Pharynix, he's faced Danger, he's faced Shadow. It's time to face the wall. That is Levo, or will Levo bring him to the woodshed? Find out next week. Moving on to number 6 this week, and it was hard to, similar to Vamp, it was hard to place Scotty, coach of the Houston Rocketots. No game because it had to be a forfeit on Scotty's end due to being busy, which is totally understandable in these times. I had a midterm, or I have a midterm actually due today. I still haven't done it yet. Anyway, I can't talk about a match that never happened. I didn't want to put Scotty like stupid low due to the fact that he really didn't lose the game. It's just that he didn't have enough time to play the game. He's facing off against Logic, so it'll be interesting to see if Logic, someone who's logical, can beat Logic. Or will Logic fail us all again? Who knows? Moving on to number 5, we have Mud, coach of the Chicago Blaze King, coming off of I don't know what you want to call week 2. Week 2 is kind of depressing and questionable. However, going on week 3, facing off against Levo in a friendly, very close match that came down to a Buzzwalled roll and sets working the right way in Mud's end. He faces off against Pharynix this week, which Pharynix I think is the next coach on the list even. So I'll be interested to see how this match plays off. Pharynix coming off of a loss. I wonder if that will run out his momentum or it will just bring him more. Pharynix has been doing very well so far. this season. Speaking of Pharynx, number 4 is Pharynx, coach of the Toronto Star Raptors. Pharynx doing very well the first 2 weeks, facing off against Atlas. And Atlas just proving to be what the person that they need to really put in the works. And taking out Matrix rather well. Of course, overwhelming with a DD. It'll be interesting to see because Mud brings the raw power. As long as he brings Z moves that are legal. And then Pharynx faces off against Core. All of these are just lining up very nicely. Facing off against Corey. Moving on to number 3. The person who's in the call listening. And third on the list is Corey, coach of the Buffalo Buzzwolves, Corona Caterpies, Carolina Caterpies. It depends on their budget and where they want to move to each year. As previously mentioned in the match, Porygon 2, I don't know if whose fault it is for not outspeeding either, because I'm sure both was supposed to outspeed each. That's really weird wording, but you know what I mean. Toxic Misks were sad. It was personally, just from the battler standpoint, it was not the team I was expecting. The only two I expected was Mega Charizard X and Tapu Fini. And the things I weren't expecting didn't come, so I don't know. Also, I wouldn't have expected 4 evolutions, even though it's me, but against Corey of all people, but I don't know. I can't. It wasn't a Corey match, and just his luck kind of ran out the more it went into it. His luck really would have ran out if he got frozen, but he had a little luck. Okay, I lost a lot of things. I lost my Discord. Okay. Can I have my Discord back? I just lost my Discord. There's my Discord. And Corey is pointing out that his Porygon 2 was analytic, so he was supposed to be slower. So then it was my fault that I didn't outspeed Porygon 2. Thanks, Corey. Moving on to number 2, and probably one of the scariest threats so far that probably no one would have expected. No one would have expected Shadow, coach of the Jersey Shellos, to be 3-0 right now. And on a rampage. Like, a little rampage. Alola Ninetales has put in work, especially this week. I mean, Alola Ninetales is 6th, Garchomp is 8th. Just doing an amazing job this week. And he faces off against, in a very interesting battle, against Honolulu Vulpix. It'll be interesting to see how that all plays out in the end. And let's talk about number 1 this week. We have, coming back after the post-draft analysis, he dropped a little bit, and he is back on the number 1 spot. And that is Dark, coach of the Elm Street Dark Eyes, coming off of a game against Chewy, just, yeah, setting up with having the crew gotten speed and setting up worked really well. Things happen. That usually works well. It's not normal for Dark to set up. I mean, set up like and do a pass, but it worked rather well. He's facing off against Caterpie. So this is going to be the rematch of IDL Season 2. We will totally find out who reigns victorious and who will wipe out. I did not say that right. It's been 4 years since I've watched that show. Anyway, I have intel from Corey, but I'm not going to say it because Dark will listen. However, so Corey is confident. I'm sure Dark really wants to, because Dark's lost in the playoffs every time to Corey. So I'm sure Dark wants to take a stab at Corey right now. So it'll be a very good game. Now we get to actually move on to Pickem Crew. And the Pickem crew actually did their job this week and got it in before I did this video. So, week 3, first off, very better than week 2. The only match that was saddening was the only match that was saddening was, of course, Pharynix versus Atlas. Atlas defying all odds. And taking out Pharynix. And that now puts Matrix above everyone, point. And Samon right behind. I'm right behind them. And then it is Hunter, it is PCM, and it is Leafeon. Moving on to week 4, we have picks for this week. It is Chicago versus Toronto. Everyone, or 5 out of 7 chose Chicago to win. 2, Matrix and Hunter both chose Toronto to win. Maybe if Mud always has bad week 2s. I just remembered that. He does not have good weeks. He does not have good beginning weeks. Anyway, the next match is the Arizona Diamond Storms against the Texas Tyrannotars. 5 of us voting for Arizona Diamond Storms. Leafeon and PCM voting for Texas, which could be possible. And the match of the season is Corey versus Dark. The Buffalo Buzzwalls against the Elm Street Darkrise. It is a 4-3 split with 4 people voting for Dark, 3 people voting for Corey, and Leafeon making his lock on Corey. Probably it is the locked game of the week for the most part. It is Honolulu versus Shadow, coach of the Jersey Shallows. 4 people, 3 people lock Shadow. That is myself, Samon, and PCM. Point and Matrix also voted for Shadow, but 2 people voted for Reggie. That be Leafy and Hunter, who locked Reggie this week, which could prove to be smart depending on what Reggie does. And in the DPS, aka Bree versus Vamp, a lot of people chose Vamp. 2 people, being me, PC, and PCM, chose Bree. And Point, even though he said he probably would regret it in the end, chose locked Vamp this week. We have another 5-2 game, which is Sylveon KC versus Bellevue Farfetch. Point and PCM voting for Bellevue, and everyone else voting for me, so I hopefully won't let everyone down. I let everyone down week 2, but I can't blame Paris. In an interesting twist of events, 6 people voted for Levo to beat Atlas, and Samon was the only person who voted for Atlas. This might be the week that Levo turns it around and starts destroying the world. Who knows? Also, Matrix locked Levo this week. And in the last game, Logic, it's a pretty split match between Logic versus Scotty. 4 people voting for Scotty, 3 people voting for Logic. So, that is all for the IDL Power Rankings for Week 3. I gotta make sure Corey doesn't say anything. And I believe we're good. I just got a message. It was a message in a different link. So anyway, that is all. My name is Cmdr. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, comment down below. We'll see you again next week for the IDL Power Rankings for Week 4 and maybe some other video. I don't know, but we will see you then.